When others get reincarnated, they become tigers or snakes. But I got reincarnated as a lake. Well, technically a puddle less than 8 feet across. And I'm stuck in the middle of a desert, watching my water evaporate constantly. I realized it wouldn't be long before I dried up completely and died. But just as I was feeling hopeless, a system panel suddenly popped up in my mind. It showed I had 2 level 1 skills, spring rain and water binding. With 100 energy remaining. By leveling up, I could evolve into a spiritual lake that heals everything. An elemental lake controlling wind, stars, fire, thunder, and lightning. Or even a divine lake that controls everything. I could actually evolve. But just as I was studying the system, it suddenly flashed a red alert. Host will die from prolonged evaporation. Countdown 12 hours. I wanted to cry but had no tears. I quickly tried to learn the system's functions. The so-called spring rain was basically a rainfall ability. It could make it rain within my coverage area. And this rain was infused with spiritual energy, which helps living things grow. Water binding lets me control water to trap enemies. But using skills costs energy. 100 energy was only enough for 2 skills. As for how to get more energy, I'd have to figure that out. But clearly, I was running out of time. A lake dies when it runs out of water. As long as I don't dry up, I should survive. So I immediately used the spring rain skill, watching my energy drop to just 50 points. Then I felt a gentle breeze blow by. It only slightly cooled the heat, but there wasn't a single cloud in the sky. Was this system fake or something? I started to worry. Suddenly a few raindrops hit my surface. A light drizzle began to fall, and it kept getting heavier. Instantly I felt so refreshed. The rain lasted for an hour. When it finally stopped, my size had more than tripled. Now I covered about 70 to 80 square feet. I could barely be called upon now. I quickly checked the system panel. The red alert was gone. Having just arrived in this world, my racing heart could finally calm down a bit. Suddenly I sensed vibrations in the distance. In my perception, several wild buffalo were heading my way after such a long drought here, and now suddenly there's water. These buffalo were definitely coming to drink. I immediately got nervous. Buffalo are herd animals. If these few bring the whole herd, they might lick me dry in no time. I wondered if water binding could handle them. I had to show them who's boss, to scare off the others, and protect the water I'd worked so hard to collect from being drunk dry. When the first buffalo trudged through the mud toward me, its massive mouth, way bigger than normal, moved to lick me. Suddenly, a water rope shot out, wrapping tightly around the buffalo's neck and dragging it into the water. The buffalo, caught off guard, thrashed violently, but the grip on its neck only tightened, growing stronger and stronger. The buffalo's futile struggling only made it sink deeper into the mud. Finally, its entire head was pulled underwater. As its struggling weakened, the surface eventually went still. The other buffalo that arrived late had already been spooked by this sudden turn of events and ran far away, watching from a distance in fear. Ding! Host has slain a low-level beast. Received 100 energy points. Congratulations on achieving first kill. Bonus, 100 energy points. What a pleasant surprise. After subtracting the 50 points I spent on water binding, I now had 200 energy. So killing creatures was one way to gain energy. Looking at the still terrified buffalo in the distance, I fell into deep thought. In this endless desert, I was the only water source. There's no way these buffalo could resist their thirst and the lure of spiritual water. They were basically walking energy points. The next morning, I opened the system panel again and noticed some changes. My energy had jumped to 500. Turns out those buffalo from last night couldn't resist and came back together to drink. I killed them all. Each buffalo kill cost me 50 energy, but gave me 100 energy. So I still profited 50 points each. After careful examination, I discovered a hidden ability of the system. Creatures I kill and absorb, their memories get absorbed too, through those buffalo's memories. I learned a lot more about this world. It was very different from my original world, more like some ancient primordial era. In those buffalo's memories, I saw a lion with a ring of fire around its neck, horses with wings, and humans who could use magic. This got me excited. In such a magical world, there must be a way to become human again. I didn't want to be a lake forever. If I could drag that flame lion in and devour it, I'd probably get a ton of energy. So I came up with a bold plan. In the buffalo's memories, they were that lion's prey. So the flame lion must be nearby. The desert was still scorching hot. I'd been in this world for a week now. After surviving the initial death threat, I began my tedious yet interesting hunting lifestyle. Using spring rain once a day not only increased my size. After 7 days of continuous rain, I could now truly call myself a lake. And because the rain from spring rain was rich in spiritual energy, some dying aquatic plants, fish, and shrimp came back to life. Of course, that was just a nice bonus. For me, the bigger gain was that attracted by the spiritual water, animals came to drink every day. In these few days, I'd caught over 20 beasts, mostly buffalo. As for the smaller animals, I left them alone. Late one night, a pitch-black beast silently crept toward me. When its paws touched the mud near the lake, I immediately detected it. It was a hound, but clearly different from hounds in my old world, because it had 2 heads. 4 red eyes glowed brightly in the darkness. The 2-headed hound cautiously scanned its surroundings. After confirming there was no threat, it approached me and lowered its heads to drink. I couldn't let this one go either. If I devoured this 2-headed hound, the system would definitely reward me generously with a whoosh. I activated water binding. Compared to ordinary beasts, this hound was much more alert. The moment the water rope left the surface, the hound quickly jumped back. But I had anticipated this. 1 water binding wouldn't be enough to catch this hound, so I used water binding 5 times at once. The hound dodged the first rope, but the others wrapped tightly around its limbs. The hound struggled in panic, but under the full force of my pull, its body was dragged closer and closer to the lake. Just as the hound was about to enter the water, its red eyes fired 2 beams of red light into the water. With a bang, water splashed up from the lake. After the 2-headed hound launched this attack, its body went limp and I easily dragged it underwater. As for that attack, aside from making a splash, it didn't really affect me at all. Ding. Congratulations, host, on completing your first magical beast kill. Killed 1 mortal tier level 1 magical beast. Reward 1,000 energy points. Special substance detected in host. Refine it? I was still thrilled about the 1,000 energy reward. When I heard the system mention a special substance inside me, after thinking it over, I decided to refine it, to see what it was. Refinement complete. Host refined 2 level 1 hellhound essences. Received 500 energy points. After sorting through everything, I finally understood. That 2-headed hound was called a hellhound. A mortal tier level 1 magical beast. Those 2 red beams before it died were actually its 2 eyeballs. According to the system, creatures in this world, whether magical beasts or humans, are ranked into 4 tiers: mortal, transcendent, legendary, and sacred. Each tier has 10 levels, which perfectly matched the system's level structure. Whether there were higher tiers, I had no idea. After some comparison, that flame lion from the Buffalo's memories was probably mortal tier level 3, while I was only mortal tier level 1. But since my true form was a lake, most attacks didn't seem to work on me. System, how do I level up? Host can spend 2,000 energy to upgrade to level 2, to play it safe. I decided to reach level 2 first, before going after that flame lion. Upgrade. I commanded. After some shaking, the lake was enveloped in mist. After a moment, the mist cleared, revealing the lake. My size had doubled. Green aquatic plants could be seen in the water, along with fish and shrimp swimming around. Upgrade successful. Congratulations, host. New skill acquired, water blade level 1. This upgrade left me with only 500 energy points, but my lake expanded again, and I even unlocked a new attack skill. Even the plants and fish inside me benefited from it. Their growth sped up. Water sword technique, as the name suggests, lets me form blades of water to strike my enemies. Each water blade costs 100 energy points. At most, I can conjure 20 blades in one go. The larger the lake, the more water blades I can create. Seeing all this info, I felt a bit torn. With my current energy, I can only use water sword 5 times. Still, with this new attack skill, I'm confident I can take down that flame lion. I'm sure the system will give me a generous reward when I do. From the bison's memories, that flame lion mainly hunts them, because it went on a killing spree some time ago. Few bison have come to drink here these past few days. I have to find a way to gather enough wild bison. Only then can I lure the flame lion over. The next evening, I cast spring wind and rain again. Only this kind of wide area rainfall has enough pull to tempt them. It can draw the bison here to drink. Sure enough, just as night fell, a few bison cautiously trotted over. They tested the lakeshore several times, and once they sensed nothing unusual, they started gulping down the water. Given my size now, I don't need to be stingy with a little water. To lure the flame lion, I held my breath and stayed completely still. By the 3rd day, more and more animals had gathered around the lake. A few waterfowl were even playing mischievously in the shallows. I kept waiting patiently. I needed to make this place seem perfectly safe. Once all the nearby animals come here to drink, the flame lion will have no choice but to hunt here. And maybe because they've been drinking this aura-filled water, the animals by the lake seem a lot more spirited. They're like slabs of juicy, fragrant meat, just waiting for the flame lion to feast. I waited 2 whole days without seeing any sign of it. Watching a few bison brazenly bathing at the shore, I almost couldn't resist striking first. Finally, on the 4th day, the distant flame lion appeared within my senses. It finally came. I was so excited that ripples spread across my surface. As I watched the flame lion draw closer and closer, I grew anxious. After all, this was my first time hunting a tier 3 beast, and this flame lion clearly wasn't ordinary. Whether I'd actually succeed, I honestly wasn't sure. When the flame lion was about 500 meters from the lake, the beasts at the shore finally reacted and tried to flee. The bison splashing in the water panicked even more and rushed for the bank. I directed the current to form an underflow at the lake bottom, blocking one of the bison from getting ashore. With a sudden swoosh, the flame lion was already at the lakeside. It clamped its jaws down on the bison's neck. Blood instantly dyed a huge patch of the lake red. The bison barely struggled before its life slipped away. Just as the flame lion was about to release the carcass, I cast waterbind. 3 ropes of water shot out of the lake toward the lion. The flame lion was startled, but cleverly hurled the bison's body toward the ropes. However, those ropes were fully under my control. They flickered aside, dodging the carcass, and kept wrapping themselves around the flame lion. The lion opened its massive jaws and spat out a fireball. It hit one of the ropes and vaporized it on the spot. The other 2 ropes coiled tight around the flame lion's neck. A tug of war began. This flame lion really was something else. It actually managed to wrestle against my entire lake by itself. The fiery ring around its neck kept expanding, and the water ropes around it were about to be burned away. With 3 sharp whooshes, 3 more water blades shot up from the lake. The first one streaked straight for the flame lion's forehead. The other 2 followed right behind. The flame lion roared, spewing out a cloud of flames. The fire cloud wasn't fast, but it formed a barrier in front of it. The first water blade plunged into the flames, and was quickly evaporated. The second one shot in, making the cloud shudder. But it still didn't disperse. My heart clenched. I guided the 3rd water blade, and at the last split second, I changed its course. It curved around the fire cloud and dropped straight down. As the flame lion let out a wretched scream, the water vanished without a trace. leaving a gaping hole in the lion's head. Blood gushed steadily out of it. I used the water ropes to drag its body into the lake. The surface slowly returned to calm. Only a dark stain in the mud remained, proof that a brutal fight had just taken place here. This hunt drained every last bit of my remaining energy. You could say I was completely spent. Fortunately, I still managed to devour this Tier 3 spirit beast in the end. Congratulations, host. You have devoured a Tier 3 flame lion and gained 3,000 energy points. Abnormal energy detected. Refine it now? I'm guessing I can refine that ring of flames around the fire lion's neck. Refine the fire lion's flame. Increases host's fire immunity. My true form is water, and its only natural enemy is fire. I never expected refining flames could boost my immunity. If I refine even more powerful flames in the future, maybe I could even devour the sun itself. This ambush was a complete success. I gained 3,000 energy points all at once. Let me sum things up. The effective ways to gain energy that I know of are hunting, devouring creatures, and refining special materials or energy. And all of this depends on my skills. The skills I currently have. Spring Rain is a basic skill for increasing my mass. Waterbind and Water Blade are my main attack skills. System, I want to upgrade my skills. 500 energy to upgrade Spring Rain and Waterbind. 1,000 energy to upgrade Water Arrow. The upgrade costs are definitely steep, and this is just for going from level 1 to 2. I can only imagine how much more future upgrades will cost. But to hunt and devour stronger creatures, and gain more energy, I have to upgrade my skills. So I didn't hesitate to upgrade everything. That cost me 2,000 energy all at once. Then I wanted to see what was special about level 2 skills. So I used Spring Rain again. This time Spring Rain cost 100 energy points, and it was much more powerful. Heavy rain poured down for hours. I could feel much richer spiritual energy within the water. Even though the rain was heavy, I felt like my mass wasn't increasing as much as I expected. I focused and sensed every part of my body, and finally found the problem. In the mud not far away, a seed had been carried in from somewhere. It was greedily absorbing the spiritual rain. Almost all the rainwater near it was being sucked right into it. It was stealing my water. I wanted to see what kind of species this was. I was a bit annoyed, but also curious. I deliberately directed some lake water toward the seed. After about 15 minutes, the seed finally stopped absorbing water. A peanut-sized seed had absorbed 15 minutes worth of my lake water. This was absolutely unbelievable. In my perception, the seed seemed satisfied, like it had drunk its fill. It wiggled and sprouted a green shoot. The shoot had 2 leaves that looked around and continued to grow rapidly. In no time, what was just a seed had grown into a tree over 3 feet tall. What surprised me even more was, beneath the mud, there was a root system over 2 meters long, with tangled roots reaching toward me. What a greedy thing. Without hesitation, I unleashed a water blade, aiming straight at its newly grown trunk. With a loud crack, the trunk snapped instantly. I seemed to hear ghostly wails echoing in my mind. It was bone-chilling. The rapidly growing roots beneath the mud also stopped. Congratulations, host. Connection with the mutated Ghostthorn tree established. Please choose Symbiosis or Enslavement of the Ghostthorn tree. There's even this feature? I didn't see that coming. After thinking it over, the Ghostthorn tree was originally common in the wasteland, but this one had mutated, gaining the terrifying ability to devour blood and souls, to strengthen itself. Earlier, when I was hunting other creatures, its seed had been secretly absorbing blood and souls. Now nourished by the spirit rain, it had finally sprouted. Following the system's prompt, I chose Symbiosis with the mutated Ghostthorn tree. My priority was to hunt as many creatures as possible, to gain energy and level up. Blood and souls were useless to me, but those were exactly what the mutated Ghostthorn tree needed. A perfect mutual exchange. In the near future, with my help, the Ghostthorn tree would become a terrifying force. Ding! Symbiosis successful. Congratulations, host. Symbiosis reward with mutated Ghostthorn tree received. Host receives 2,000 energy points and a new skill, soul communication. Communicate directly with any soul-bearing creature. When I checked the system panel again, some changes had occurred. A new section appeared next to my info. Symbiotic creature, mutated Ghostthorn tree, level. Mortal realm level 2, host. Chuchen skills, Ghostthorn, blood craving, soul devouring. Warning. The mutated Ghostthorn tree's intelligence grows extremely fast. It is highly evil. Please discipline it strictly. Just born and already at my level. Truly insane. As for the system's warning, I wasn't too worried. After all, a symbiotic creature would never betray me, whether it was evil or good. In such a brutal environment, kindness was worthless. After the earlier fight, those beasts had long fled far away. They probably wouldn't dare return for quite a while. I could only use some water to irrigate the Ghostthorn tree. After another terrifying absorption session, the trunk I had severed with my water blade started growing back with my new 2,000 energy points. I didn't need to hold back anymore, so I just spent 1,000 points to make it rain. This time I didn't bother limiting the rainfall area. Spiritual energy-infused rain poured down across the entire lake basin. The drizzle came and went for a whole week. Countless dead trees sprang back to life. Seeds from farther away began sprouting fresh shoots. In this barren wasteland, my location became the only oasis around. This stark contrast caught the attention of quite a few creatures. Animals that had witnessed the massacre still hesitated in the distance, fighting off the temptation with everything they had. But creatures arriving from farther away happily approached me without a second thought. But for me right now, hunting ordinary beasts doesn't really do much for me anymore. Only magical beasts can give me any real benefits. So I ordered the Ghostthorn technique to stand down. I'm turning this place into a sanctuary of life. to lure even more powerful beings here. One day, I was leisurely rippling through the water, observing what makes this world unique, when suddenly I sensed powerful energy fluctuations in the distance. This energy was moving toward my location at incredible speed. Before long, it appeared at the lake's edge. The animals drinking and playing by the water didn't even have time to react until a deafening boom rang out. Then they scattered in panic. But I was actually thrilled. If I could, I would have shouted for joy. Finally, humans! One of them looked about 30 or 40 years old, holding a wizard's staff in his hand. If you looked closely at his exposed forearm, you'd see nothing but bare bones sticking out. The other one was slightly smaller than an average adult human. The wings on his back and the bow in his hands made it clear he wasn't human at all, but an elf instead. Kurus, you've trespassed into the elven forest. In the name of the king, I sentence you to death. The blue elf's bow began glowing with an earthy yellow light. Kurus, the wizard across from him, didn't respond, but looked like he was bracing for battle. His staff floated in front of his chest as he chanted an incantation. The bone staff's bottom end suddenly plunged into his own chest. Pain and struggle flashed across Kurus's face. Blood flowed along the staff toward a black orb at the top. The orb gradually turned blood red. Forbidden dark magic. Kurus, how dare you! Kurus quickly finished his chant. The staff stopped drawing blood from his chest. The brilliant red light completely overwhelmed the green glow on Grandy the elf's sword. A massive scythe materialized within the red light, slashing toward Grandy. Grandy didn't back down, looking ready to die fighting. His wings beat violently. A giant yellow sword formed and shot forward instantly. Then Grandy's figure vanished. In one breath, he'd retreated over 100 meters. The yellow sword collided with the red scythe. There was no earth-shattering explosion like you'd expect. The sword barely held for a moment before being destroyed. Meanwhile, Grandy was running forward without looking back, hoping to escape the red scythe's deadly harvest. But it was all futile. Grandy didn't even have time to scream. His delicate head fell to the side. His body kept running forward from momentum alone. Seeing this, Kurus finally lost the strength to stand and collapsed to the ground. I watched silently from the sidelines, not daring to let out even a trace of my aura, afraid of being discovered. Because in my perception, a terrifying presence still hadn't disappeared. Sure enough, the death scythe didn't vanish after harvesting Grandy. Instead, an eye appeared on its blade. Cold, terrifying, deadly. Those were the words any creature who saw this eye couldn't help but think of. Kurus stared at the blood-red scythe in the sky in horror, his mouth hanging open, unable to speak. With a flash, the scythe disappeared, and Kurus was separated from his head too. A yellow light shot out from Grandy's corpse, breaking into the void and vanishing. Things happened too fast. I was completely stunned by what I'd just seen. After a brief moment of shock, I cast water recovery twice, pulling both Kurus and Grandy's bodies from the distance, along with their bow and staff, into the water. I didn't expect something to be hiding in this tiny lake. I froze instantly. I clearly couldn't sense any life force anymore. That voice was Kurus. He's actually still alive. Sure enough, from Kurus's mangled corpse, a shrunken, grotesque version of Kurus crawled out. You lowly rat. I am a servant of the great death god. How dare you covet my corpse? Just as I thought, a cunning necromancer. They're experts at manipulating souls. He actually managed to keep his soul intact after using forbidden magic. But judging from the way he's looking around, Kurus can't actually detect my soul presence. Time to test out the Ghostthorn technique. You filthy rat. I am a servant of the great god of death. How dare you covet my body? Just as I thought, a cunning necromancer. They're masters at manipulating souls. He actually managed to preserve his soul after using forbidden magic. But wait, judging by how he's looking around frantically, Kurus can't detect my presence. A soul form. Time to test the Ghostthorn's power. I'm not afraid. If Kurus were at full strength, I probably couldn't handle him. But now that Kurus is just a soul, against my Ghostthorn that devours souls. He's like a lamb to the slaughter. The Ghostthorn's branches are swaying. It can barely contain itself. A necromancer's soul. What a delicious meal. Once I gave the command to attack, several black thorns from the Ghostthorn's trunk shot straight toward Kurus over the lake. Kurus couldn't dodge in time, and never expected that this little sapling behind him would actually attack him. Every thorn struck its mark. Damned rat. I'll place your soul before the statue of my god, and burn it bit by bit. Kurus screamed in agony. His soul-formed body kept shifting into different shapes, clearly suffering massive damage. The thorns exploded, blasting Kurus' soul into fragments. A powerful necromancer, who escaped the Holy Temple of Light's pursuit. An elven royal who once killed an earth spirit heir, now completely annihilated by my half-creature without effort. The Ghostthorn eagerly extended a root toward me. I let it absorb blood, but wouldn't let it devour the souls just yet. I needed to extract their memories through the system first. Besides, souls are purer after the system extracts memories, making them easier for the Ghostthorn to absorb. Ding! Congratulations! Host has obtained the corpse of a transcendent level 3 elven royal. Reward, 2,000 energy points. Congratulations! Host has obtained the corpse of a transcendent level 2 dark wizard. Reward, 1,000 energy points. Special materials detected. Dragon bone staff and elven bow, refine them. Refinement successful. 1,000 energy points awarded. Just looting corpses gets me such generous rewards. I didn't see that coming. This means, as long as I can get creature corpses, I can gain energy. That makes things a lot simpler. An even bigger plan formed in my mind. If it works, it'll definitely help me gain energy fast. After processing everything, I finally had a clearer understanding of this world. The wizard and elf's memories were far richer than those of beasts and magical creatures, and their understanding of the world was much more complete. This is a world called the Divine Demon Continent. It's chaotic here, with all kinds of creatures, forming complicated power structures. The most powerful is the Holy Temple of Light. They worship the God of Light, believing all beings should live forever in light. Kurus' Temple of Death worships the God of Death, believing death brings eternal life. Grandy's elven race is also one of the powerful races, but they've lived in the elven forest for ages, rarely venturing out, forbidding anyone from entering, or facing endless pursuit. Kurus was being hunted by mages from the Holy Temple of Light, and fled into the elven forest out of desperation, only to be discovered by Grandy, who pursued Kurus relentlessly. The spell he used was a dark magic sacrifice, classified as forbidden magic, immensely powerful once cast, but the caster must sacrifice their own life, whether light mages or dark wizards. Few ever use this magic. For me, this world still holds many unknowns. I'm still really weak. If Kurus hadn't been forced to use forbidden magic, and they basically hadn't taken each other out, with my current strength, I couldn't have handled either of them. Still too weak. I sighed deeply. This was just a necromancer and an elven royal. What about the even more powerful archbishops of the Holy Temple and the Elven King? And the even more terrifying God of Light? And God of Death? How powerful must they be? But I've got the system. I believe one day I'll stand at the same height as the gods, this time with hardly any effort. I gained 4,000 energy points, just enough for my next upgrade. System, I want to level up. 4,000 energy points deducted. Congratulations, host has advanced to level 3 lake. The calm water suddenly churned. My size expanded once again. I've now fully returned to my pre-drought state. A body of water spanning 800 meters. Finally looking pretty impressive. I'm quite satisfied with my current state. Compared to the tiny puddle I started as, I can now be called a proper lake. Suddenly the Ghostthorn sent out soul fluctuations. I checked the system panel, creature mutation, Ghostthorn level, mortal tier 3. The Ghostthorn actually leveled up with me. Looks like Kurus and Grandy's souls gave it quite the boost. Master, I'm hungry. The Ghostthorn's childlike voice appeared in my consciousness. This Ghostthorn. I can actually talk to him directly now. This is exactly what I've been hoping for. Being alone day after day, with no one to talk to. If this keeps up, I'll go crazy before I become a god. To kill time, I've been messing around with the Ghostthorn, helping him learn to speak. Like a father teaching his kid to talk. It's been a month since I arrived. Besides those bottom of the food chain beasts, and a handful of magical creatures, I haven't seen any organized civilization, let alone human tribes. It's driving me nuts. If I can't connect with intelligent species, and I'm stuck leveling up on my own, who knows how long that'll take. As the lake keeps expanding, my field of vision grows too, but I still can't see where this wasteland ends. I'm starting to lose hope. One morning, I was bored out of my mind playing with Ghostthorn. By now, he's got the intelligence of an 11 or 12-year-old kid. I even gave him a name. Following my surname Chu, I called him Tianba. Suddenly, the sound of hooves appeared in my senses, like a stampede of thousands of horses charging this way. Could it be a human army? That'd be good news. When the targets came into view, my jaw dropped. It wasn't an army at all. It was a swarm of giant scorpions. These scorpions were each about half the size of a horse. Running like that, of course, they'd sound like a stampede. The ones in front were especially huge, with a purple tint. Their tail barbs glowed with a dark sheen. Soon enough, the scorpion army reached the lake's edge. After the lead scorpion general looked back, all the scorpions stopped in perfect unison. The scorpion general pointed its front claw at a few soldier scorpions behind it, signaling them to go drink. After the few soldier scorpions drank and returned to formation unharmed, the scorpion general directed all the soldier scorpions to drink team by team. I stayed hidden. From what I could sense, this scorpion general was only level 3. The few behind it were level 2, and the rest of the soldier scorpions were just level 1. But to form such a disciplined scorpion army, that was pretty mind-blowing. The magical beasts I'd hunted before included plenty of level 3 creatures, but none had this kind of intelligence. I decided to watch what these scorpions would do next. If I could swallow them all in one go, these few thousand scorpions could provide some serious energy. After all the soldier scorpions finished drinking, the scorpion general finally stepped forward. Just as it dipped its head into the water, while I was still deciding whether to strike, things suddenly changed. A huge rumble came from the distance, even louder than the scorpion army. It was a lizard army led by another creature with level 3 energy, and the lizard army was moving to surround them, trapping the scorpion army by the lake. Are these two races about to go to war? If so, I could sit back and reap the benefits. After the lizard army closed in, the scorpion troops panicked briefly. The scorpion general didn't have time to drink. It immediately waved its claws, commanding the army to stand ready. The lizard army kept pushing forward, while the scorpion army kept retreating. Many scorpions were already halfway in the water. The two sides looked ready to clash, but I noticed something interesting. Neither the scorpion general nor the lizard general showed any intention of fighting. Instead, their normally obedient magical beast troops were showing signs of losing control upon encountering enemies. Watching the standoff, an idea popped into my head. Since neither of you will make a move, let me give you a little push. With a whoosh, a water arrow shot from the lake, piercing through 2 or 3 soldier scorpions before dissipating. The already disadvantaged scorpion army, startled by the sudden attack from behind, fell into chaos and frantically charged toward the outside of the lake. The lizard army on the perimeter had them surrounded tight. With this collision, the battle between the two races erupted completely. Both the scorpion general and lizard general were shocked. They desperately issued commands, trying to control the situation. But it was useless. The two sides already locked in combat were down to pure fighting instinct and couldn't hear their commands anymore to stop their own troops. The two leaders even killed a few as examples. Watching the increasingly frenzied scorpion and lizard armies, I was pretty surprised. Looks like these two races have some serious bad blood. Looking at the scorpion and lizard generals who still refused to fight, I figured there was something interesting going on here. Two races with such deep hatred, yet their leaders seemed to be holding back, almost afraid to fight. I could only think of one reason. Why they wouldn't fight. There must be something even more powerful that won't allow them to go to war. What kind of being could intimidate two massive races like this? I felt a sense of urgency. The lake's strangeness would be discovered sooner or later, but I didn't want it to be now, because I'm not strong enough yet. Even though I'm hard to kill as a lake, I know this world has plenty of powerful magic. The scorpion general and lizard general, seeing the battle was unavoidable, still showed no intention of fighting each other. Instead, they both headed toward the lake. They'd both just seen a water arrow shoot from the lake. Startled the scorpion soldiers. The two beasts that triggered the massive battle carefully observed the lakeside, but found nothing. The lizard general furiously opened its jaws, and a ball of green venom shot out. The poison rapidly spread across the lake's surface. Fish and shrimp floated up instantly on contact. Belly up, I remained completely still. I was waiting for the perfect moment. Finally, the scorpion general lost its patience too. Its tail stinger glowed red, instantly splitting into dozens of strikes piercing the water. But aside from creating ripples, there was still no reaction. Both beasts were puzzled. Neither of them sensed any unusual presence in the lake. Their probing attacks had no effect. The scorpion general glanced at the lizard general, signaling it to enter the lake. After all, lizards are amphibious, while scorpions are strictly land creatures. The lizard general roared at the scorpion general, then cautiously entered the water and dove to the bottom. Perfect opportunity. I made my move instantly. 4 water ropes formed directly in the water. Their power multiplied. The lizard had no chance to fight back underwater. This was my home turf. All 4 limbs were locked tight. Only its tail thrashed helplessly in the water. I controlled the lake's currents, trying to suppress any disturbance from the lizard general's struggles. At the same time, I used water sword technique. The lizard general was pierced through with no resistance and breathed its last. I wrapped the lizard general in water, preventing its blood from staining the lake. The scorpion general on shore noticed the lizard hadn't returned and grew increasingly anxious. Suddenly, it realized it could no longer sense the lizard general's presence. Panic set in. It turned to flee, like I'd let it escape. Whoosh, 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 whoosh! 4 more water ropes wrapped it up like a dumpling, binding the scorpion general from behind and dragging it straight into the water. The scorpion general's combat power plummeted underwater. Its venomous tail stinger was completely useless against me in my lake form. Without any surprise, I finished it off with 1 water sword strike. With that, the most powerful scorpion and lizard generals had been eliminated. The two races battling fiercely on shore had already lost over half their numbers. I controlled the lake water in a reverse surge, sweeping all the scorpions and lizard beasts still fighting into the lake. Then I stirred up massive waves, drowning them all in the water. Those beasts had already exhausted themselves in battle. In no time, corpses floated to the surface. The entire lake turned crimson with blood. The shore was littered with severed limbs and tails. The scene was absolutely gruesome. First, I absorbed all the corpses in the water, feeding the blood and souls to the Ghostthorn tree. From the memories I've gathered so far, the two races showing up at the lake together was definitely suspicious. In both the lizard and scorpion generals' memories, I saw the same person, an elf, though hidden in darkness. Those wings and pointed ears gave away their identity. This elf commanded both races to thoroughly search the desert and report any anomalies. Why would the elves investigate this wasteland? I doubt it's because of Grandy. If it were just about Grandy, there'd be no need to investigate the entire desert for unusual activity. I felt a sense of foreboding. An unprecedented feeling of crisis weighed down on me. Was I about to face the elves again this soon? Looks like I need to prepare early. Nearly 2,000 corpses in the water, plus the scorpion and lizard generals I'd killed earlier. This haul netted me nearly 20,000 energy points. Jackpot, jackpot. War profits really are the best. I gleefully looked at the 3,000 to 4,000 corpses still on shore. This windfall came so fast, I was almost dizzy. But I managed to control my inner greed, and didn't continue devouring the corpses on shore. Looking at my system panel showing 5-digit energy points for the first time, I was even happier than when I first earned a 5-figure salary in my past life. After thinking it over briefly, I decided, alright, let's start with a major system upgrade. I'm gonna raise my level to 5, and also upgrade Spring Rain, Water Clone and Water Sword to level 5 as well. Upgrade successful. Congratulations, host. You've unlocked a new skill. Water Pressure can unleash overwhelming force. Each use costs 500 energy points. Looking at the system panel again, out of over 20,000 energy points, I'm suddenly down to just 5,000. And the next upgrade costs 30,000 points. Easy come, easy go. Money spent even faster. Same goes for energy points. But I have a terrible suspicion. If it's true, I'll need to spend every point I have, and it still won't be enough. Since the scorpion and lizard tribes take orders from the elves, other tribes must be under their control too. The elves probably control every tribe in this desert. A confrontation with them is inevitable. The scorpion general and lizard general came to my lake this time because they sensed something unusual and came to investigate. Unfortunately, they ran right into me. Luckily, they didn't have time to report back. Before I took them out, this bought me some time to react and make some preparations to avoid being caught off guard. Just as I was racking my brain on how to handle this situation, Tianba, the ghost. Thorntree sent news of its evolution, excitedly calling out to me. I took one look and was amazed. The trunk that was only 3 to 4 meters tall had now grown to over 10 meters. It could truly be called a big tree now. Its roots beneath the soil were tangled and complex. Now the entire tree grows right in my lake. Fortunately, Tianba now no longer needs to absorb massive amounts of lake water. Otherwise, I don't know if I could afford to keep it. Checking through the system, Tianba has also reached mortal rank level 5. Its skills haven't changed much, but remembering how it dealt with Kurus's soul last time, its abilities after evolution must be even more terrifying. Master, I'm hungry. I want to eat the food on the shore. The food Tianba meant was obviously the corpses on shore, but now wasn't the time to feast on them. I kept them there for a reason. Since someone's controlling the scorpion and lizard tribes, if these two tribes disappear, someone will come to investigate, and eventually they'll trace it back to me. I might as well keep these corpses to make it look like both sides killed each other. When they arrive and see this but can't find the scorpion and lizard generals, they'll surely suspect that they fled elsewhere with the remaining beasts. This way, as long as I stay hidden, whoever's behind them won't focus too much on the lake. Plus, for other carnivorous creatures, these corpses are free food. I'm sure they'll attract quite a few magical beasts and bring me plenty of energy points. A deep sense of crisis weighed on me when there were no beasts to hunt. I planned my future development strategy while practicing my only 3 offensive skills and training combat coordination with Tianba. I discovered that my 3 skills, when combined with Spring Rain, all received a significant power boost. My new water pressure combined with Tianba's Ghostthorns produced exceptional results. In my free time, I'd observe the plants and animals growing in the lake. Nurtured by the spiritual water in the lake, the creatures here grew exceptionally fast. Watching the fish and shrimp swimming around, I wondered if I should raise an army of aquatic soldiers. Huh? What's that? Within my perception, a peculiar small creature on the shore. It looked like a gecko, but with black wings on its back. It had the vibe of a dragon from movies in my past life, except this one was way smaller. In the months since I arrived in this world, all the creatures I've seen here are much larger than in my previous life. Even the scorpions from days ago were half the size of a horse, but this gecko looks just like one from my past life. At this moment, the gecko was preparing to burrow into a scorpion's head. These scorpions are covered in hard exoskeletons. Burrowing in shouldn't be easy, yet this gecko barely tried. One swipe of its claws made a hole, and it went right in. Soon it crawled out looking satisfied. Then it raised its head and looked around cautiously, before happily going for another lizard corpse. Its small eyes were full of intelligence. This scene greatly piqued my interest. I quietly cast water rope. A water rope snaked along the ground toward the gecko. When the gecko emerged from the lizard's head, my water rope was already waiting. It instantly wrapped tightly around its small body. The gecko frantically swiped with its sharp claws, desperately slashing at the rope. But this time, it miscalculated. Water has no fixed form, no matter how sharp its little claws were. How could they cut through water? Just as I was having fun, teasing this strange little gecko, it suddenly vanished without a trace. Using all my sensing abilities, I found it had suddenly hidden inside a scorpion corpse. How did it break free? And how did it get into the corpse? I was totally confused. The water rope in the air still maintained its binding shape, proving the gecko didn't break free by force. Interesting. Let's see how many times you can escape. Refusing to give up, I formed 4 or 5 water ropes and sent them all toward the gecko at once. Even hiding in the scorpion corpse was useless. Sure enough, the captured gecko vanished again, only to reappear nearby. I immediately sensed it. Another water rope was waiting for it. After 4 times, I finally saw how it escaped. Each time my water rope wings on its back would flutter, and it would instantly appear somewhere else. This must be some kind of spatial teleportation ability. But at the gecko's current level, it couldn't teleport very far, which is why it always appeared nearby, and it seemed unable to control the direction. I watched it crash headfirst into Tianba's trunk. My mind was already calculating. This amazing little gecko rubbed its head with its claws in a very human-like way, then looked at the tree and quickly climbed up. Before it reached the top, the black thorns growing on the trunk suddenly shot toward it. The gecko swiped with its front claws and actually snapped the invincible Ghostthorns. The Ghostthorn tree trembled with rage. Several more thorns shot at the gecko from all directions. Before the gecko could react, I made my move too. Using water pressure, waves surged across the lake. The entire lake seemed ready to overturn. A powerful force pressed down on the gecko. The gecko felt an invisible force from all directions. Forget about moving its claws. Even its wings couldn't flutter this time. The Ghostthorns arrived at that moment, but stopped just in front of the gecko, about to pierce its skin. The gecko struggled to move its front claws, making a begging gesture. Seeing its high intelligence and knowing spatial abilities are among the strongest powers, I decided to tame it. Right then, the system chimed in. Congratulations, host, for subduing a creature with dragon bloodline and spatial abilities. This dragon gecko has great potential. Would you like to enslave it? No need to think twice. A beast like this is obviously worth keeping. Enslavement successful. Reward: Host receives 2,000 energy points. Creature. Dragon gecko. Level. Mortal rank level 4. Skills. Teleport, limb regeneration, dragon claw. Warning. Dragons are violent by nature. The dragon gecko may betray host after full awakening. After seeing the system's warning, I knew I made the right choice. Enslaving a creature with such great potential will definitely pay off. As for betrayal, as long as I can always overpower the dragon gecko, it will have no reason to turn on me. Since the enslavement was successful, I withdrew the water pressure and reluctantly had Tianba retract its ghost thorns. The thorns were still eager to strike. The dragon gecko wagged its tail ingratiatingly, jumped into the lake. After swimming a few laps, it told me it wanted to eat the food on shore. Of course I couldn't allow that. I still needed those corpses. Plus, if I didn't let Tianba have them, but let the newcomer feast instead, the already angry Tianba would definitely throw a fit. Seeing my refusal, the dragon gecko didn't dare resist. It flapped its wings and slowly flew up to one of Tianba's branches. From the looks of it, it wanted to live there. How could Tianba agree to that? It kept shaking its branches. The two of them kept bickering. I was helpless. Neither beast was very intelligent yet, so I could only let them mess around. I just strictly forbade them from hurting each other. Another week or so passed. The corpses on shore had almost dried up in the hot sun. During this time, I didn't dare use spring rain, afraid someone might notice something unusual. Tianba and the dragon gecko still bickered all day, but their relationship had improved a lot.